wherever you are and however you're listening. Thank you so much for being back with us on another episode of the Virtual GM Podcast. Today is September 26th, and so we are rolling into the fourth quarter. And so what better topic to talk about than your fourth quarter promos? We get into all the nitty gritty, talk about setting your rates for 2025. Not an episode you're gonna want to miss. Be sure to like and subscribe, and most importantly, enjoy the episode.
Okay, welcome back to the VGM podcast. Today on season 2, episode 18, you've got Cody and I. Let's kick it off with our segue because we run on EOS. How about you go first?
Okay, so for those of you that are new to the podcast, EOS is the Entrepreneurial Operating System. It's an incredible program, especially for entrepreneurs, small properties, for like independents, who are the people who are probably listening to this episode. Highly recommend it. Pick up a book, Traction, Rocket Fuel, What the Heck is EOS? A bunch of great books, an awesome program. You can really self-direct yourself through it, but it really makes a tremendous difference. I couldn't imagine where we would be as a company had we never done the investment of EOS. You know, it really has penetrated every aspect of our business. And I love the segue because it allows you to like be involved in people's lives, stay up on what they're doing. And then also it makes you realize the wins you have in business. Because even as we do a segue, sometimes it's like, oh, what was good last week? And it's so important to remember the successes you have and not just to just be going through the motions. So in a segue, what we do is we talk about one personal best and one business best from the last week. And so my personal best is last night was opening night of NFL football, Chiefs and Ravens. I had Derrick Henry in my fantasy team. He didn't look great, I'll be honest. I thought he was going to be amazing. He looked a little bit slow, looked a little old.
It's the first game.
Give him a chance. I'm a little concerned. He got a touchdown in the first quarter, so I was feeling pretty good. And then he basically did nothing for the next 3 quarters.
Yikes.
Great game, though. I did bet on the Ravens plus 2.5. And I thought they were going to tie the game at the very end of the night. But Lively's toe, he was wearing black cleats. And so you could clearly tell he was like a toenail over the line. And so Patrick Mahomes in his post-game conference said, my advice is to wear white cleats.
Oh my gosh.
Because it would have been harder. Maybe you couldn't have overturned it, you know? But so that was awesome. And then this weekend we've got Michigan and Texas, Colorado, Nebraska, something about football being back on. It's like
the changing of seasons.
It's still 100 degrees here in the desert, but we'll pretend it's changing.
Yeah.
So that was awesome, obviously. And then business best, I love when people reach out from the podcast. I had someone reach out from Houston, Texas. Matt and Rebecca, shout out if you're listening to this episode. They are looking to purchase bed and breakfast around the Houston area and wanted to reach out to us to get advice and direction and potentially work with us in this new project. And it's just so cool when that happens because you never know who's listening or if you're making an impact. And
totally.
So to have this husband and wife who listen to all the episodes and are you really using that as motivation and direction as to how they're going to pursue this new endeavor, it's super rewarding, and it was awesome to connect with them. And so hopefully we're going to be able to help support them in their journey into hospitality, which is just so cool.
That is so cool. Okay, for me, personal, I went to Denver a couple weeks ago with my mom and sister and some of our friends, and we explored the town, and we went and saw Cody Johnson in concert, and it was amazing. It was really cool to see Denver and where it's at, and we actually did a ghost tour, which was cool. So we walked around Denver and a couple haunted bars and learned about some history. So that was really fun.
Did you ever feel?
No, I didn't. I went in like, I'm safe. I'm like,
so you weren't into it.
It wasn't that I wasn't into it, but it's like, what do I have to be scared of?
Ghosts, I guess.
I mean, they're not going to hurt me.
They're probably friendly ghosts if they're in bars, though.
I don't know.
Ghosts looking for a good time. Was it cool, though?
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool.
Learn anything interesting?
I learned about some history in Denver, which was really interesting.
What was the coolest part?
It was run by a lot of women.
Really?
And like, what do you call it?
Madams?
Yes.
Really?
Madams. Huge.
Interesting. I never knew that.
They ran Denver. Yes.
No shit.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And there was like one madam that like ran it all. Madam Maddie or something like that.
Wow.
And
That's
so,
cool.
yeah, it was really interesting.
How was Denver overall?
It was good. Like, the last time we'd been there, it was kind of sketchy.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel
But you guys weren't downtown either, right?
Well, we were when we walked to the wrong hotel.
I can't believe you went to the wrong hotel.
Yeah. Good job, Mom. Yeah, no, I didn't feel there. I didn't even see a lot of homeless people. I maybe saw a few, but
Okay.
it seemed a lot better than before.
Did you guys go to 16th Street Mall?
No.
No, because they've redone it all. I don't know if it's done
They're
yet
still
or what.
like under
but
construction.
Yeah, they're doing
Yeah,
a
we
whole like rejuvenation project for that, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it was such an amazing spot when I was a kid. Like it was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see it coming back.
Yeah. No, it felt good there.
Speaking of Denver, Bo Nix, new quarterback of the Denver Broncos, as a rookie, first rookie starting quarterback since John Elway.
Wow.
And he's the first rookie captain since like the 1980s or something.
He must be pretty amazing.
Oh, he's the guy. I can't
Cool.
wait. Sunday, here we go.
That's super
First time
exciting.
I've been excited for a Broncos game in a long time. So let's get into what we're going to...
Business.
Oh, shit, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Whoa. You took a long
Whoa.
time here.
Wow.
So business, we hired a new VGM. And
Oh,
so
that's
I got
great.
to
Yes.
train her, and she's been doing it for a couple weekends now and seems to be going good.
Shout out Tori.
Yeah.
What's so cool is I love her desire to be great at it.
She really does.
The fact that she created a document and she was
Yeah.
like, I'm going to share it all with you. You guys add things to it. And it's amazing when you are running a business and here's this new employee, right? Beginner's eyes, right? And she's
Yeah.
like, well, I'm going to create this document. So next time they have it, it's like, well, yeah, we should probably have that already.
I know, but when you've just been doing it for so long, you just can't train somebody on everything that's going to happen with guests. You just can't. And they're just going to have to learn by going through it. And that's okay. And they're going to make a lot of mistakes. And that's okay. Right? Like, but she has a desire to be.
Yeah,
be
I just
good at
loved it because
Yeah.
having new eyes is so important.
It is because we just have been doing it for so long.
Well,
you
and
know?
all the VGMs now just know it. So it's like you don't
exactly.
need a document because you guys just know it. It's just intuitively a part of what you
Uh-huh.
do, you know?
So that was my business.
Yeah, that's really exciting. It's awesome. Awesome to grow that segment of business and another stay-at-home mom with a little baby. And so it's so cool to continue to give.
And something for her to feel like, okay, I've got this responsibility other than being a mom, right? But like,
And she gets to
something
talk
to
to
work for.
adults
Yeah.
and she gets to be a part of a team. And
Yeah.
it's just amazing to open up that opportunity, that segment of workforce that otherwise
yeah,
may
we've
not
got
have
a
the
pretty
chance.
cool team.
Yeah.
All
Bunch of
women and you.
ladies. Cody's Angels.
Oh, that's great.
Okay, so what are we going to talk about today?
We're going to talk about fourth quarter promotions. I mean, we're coming into the fourth
I
quarter
can't
of
fucking believe it,
2024.
honestly.
How are we here?
I don't know.
Like September
Yeah, it's crazy.
and the next couple months are busy.
I mean, you think about it, this is episode 18, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's 18 weeks. That's a long time.
Wow.
But yeah, so if you're listening to this, it should be September 26th. So we are like knocking on the door of fourth quarter. So we thought we better start having that dialogue, having those conversations. A couple of things that you can do at this time of year. First and foremost, I don't know where our listeners are, but for us, September, October are huge seasons for most of our properties because you've got, like in Eugene, we've got the Oregon
Football.
Ducks football,
Mhm.
which is amazing what that does. In Gainesville, down at Sweetwater, we've got the
Football.
Florida Gators. They just had Florida Miami play, and their rates were like unbelievable, and they did a bunch of cool
Skyrocket.
stuff. If you are a football fan and you want to see SEC football, go stay at Sweetwater. It's amazing. They did mimosas in the mornings for people and like
Cool.
did a mimosa morning. They did cocktails on the Friday night before the game so everyone could get together and talk about their team. And then they
That
they
gives
have
me
a,
the chills for some reason.
Oh, it's
That's
'cause
so
it's so
interesting.
cool.
That's so cool.
because it's such a thing, you know?
Well, it brings people together.
Yeah. And that was Florida versus Miami. So it's like
Lots of
a huge
Florida-
game, you
Florida
know?
people.
Unfortunately, the Gators looked very bad and they did not play well.
Well, it's their first game.
Yeah,
They
not
got
great.
a little shy.
Not good. Not a good start. And Laurent is the front desk manager. He kept saying, because we're talking about what should the rates be for the other games, he kept saying, well, let's wait and see what happens. So unfortunately they lost. But it was so cool to hear. And like Cornelia, she's the owner. She's owned it for like 30 years. She's an amazing lady. And she was there for all the festivities and
That's so cool.
meeting with the guests. And they've got these two incredible Victorian buildings. And so they've got this amazing greeting space and this huge wraparound porch with like rockers. And it's just,
sounds so homey.
It is an amazing property. And so I love that they went out of their way to do all these special things.
That's cool.
Because, I mean, I think their rooms were $700 a night for that game.
Wow.
So you're paying a premium rate, you expect a premium service, and they totally delivered at those unexpected delights because the people didn't know that they're going to get a mimosa morning or that there's going to be a cocktail evening.
That's
and
cool.
And then they also provide a shuttle because it's chaos.
Smart.
Imagine
so
100,000 people
parking.
trying to get to the stadium.
No,
you
thank
know?
you.
And like, oh, I couldn't imagine navigating that in a vehicle. So yeah, they have a shuttle service that they provide as well. So really, really cool. But so yeah, we've got that going on at our properties. And then in the desert,
the weather is ideal.
Spectacular.
Yeah.
And so like our Watchman Villas property is basically completely sold out from now until October.
It's crazy.
You know, I mean, there's maybe a couple nights here or there. And so it's a really big time of year for us. But as we get into the Novembers and Decembers, you start to see a little bit of drop in visitation, a lot of drop.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to talk about, you know, what can you be doing to be strategic? The thing we're doing right now. So if you're listening to this today in September, as we talked about, we've got those bigger promotions. So we're doing our length of stays. Mm-hmm. And usually, what's our most popular length of stay, would you say?
Stay 4 nights, get 25% off.
Which is huge. Basically, it's 1 night free.
And especially here, right, in the desert, where, you know, the Mighty Five, you really can see a lot of parks in a little bit of time.
Yeah.
And so if you're staying 4 nights, you really can go and
you can base camp it.
Exactly.
And that's not just in Springdale. That's even at like Cougar Ridge. You could base camp it.
Yeah, the Mighty Five, right?
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
And what we're doing now, also, we're testing a couple of smaller promos so we can try and increase our weekday business. And so we're doing a 2 or more with a discount. I think
20%.
Yeah, I think we're doing 2 or more for 20% at the dwellings. Mm-hmm. I think we're also doing 2 or more at Cougar Ridge. And so we're trying to get some of those opportunities on the smaller stays where people may not have the availability to come for as long. And so that's exciting. And again, if you're listening to this, please have your promos up and readily available. So I just had a call with a potential investor for another property of ours, and he was shocked at how little of OTAs, because he was going over the financials of one of our properties, and he was shocked at how little percent of OTAs it was. And I told him, well, our goal for the portfolio is 12%. This property was at 13. And he's like, but how are you doing that? And I said, well, first off, we're putting our most compelling offer up immediately for the guests. I mean, if you look at your sites, if you're listening to this, pull up your Google Analytics and look at how long people are staying on your website. Most likely it's under 45 seconds.
So you need that pop up right away.
That's not a lot of time, 45 seconds,
no,
you know?
It's not.
And that's good. If you're at 45 seconds, I would say you're doing your job. I bet you if you're listening to this, there's a good chance you're sub 30 seconds on your website. So
what are they even doing? Pulling up the website and closing it?
Yeah, checking to see if, I don't know.
I mean, you can't even look at availability in 30 seconds. That's crazy.
Well, the thing is, most likely, if they're clicking into your booking icon, that's a new tab.
Oh, I see.
That doesn't count. That would be WebRes's analytics. It's like if you're on the dwellings and you click book now, new tab opens.
Okay.
You've exited the website.
Gotcha.
When you want to exiting to your booking engine, ideally, right?
Yes,
that's what you hope happens.
Uh-huh.
But so you've got to give it to them right away. You've only got 45 seconds, which is why I love Hover, because it allows them to instantly see experiences very quickly. Those are like 5-second clips.
Right.
You know, and that's about how long our attention span is. You know, think about like infinite scroll.
Yeah.
You know, you're over it. And so you got to have your most compelling offer, and it's got to be better than the OTAs.
Exactly. We want them. Yeah. We want it to be better.
So that way, because they're going to check 7 different platforms on average before they book. Someone told me, I think it might have been Jason from Hover, that people check 27 different sites before they make a booking decision.
What?
So, I mean, you were competing on a large scale, you know, and the Expedias and the Booking.coms and the VRBOs, they're all buying ads above you too. So you're competing on
and they're
placement.
giving you like member promotions, right? And I get where some people ours might be a more compelling offer, but they get member rewards. And if you stay so many nights, you get a night for free, you know? And so,
yeah, a lot of competition.
Yeah.
So have whatever your promo is, and have something. Don't not have one.
Yeah. Why not? Just
even if it's 10%, like, and I was telling a client of ours this week, don't step over dollars to pick up dimes. Like, don't be so concerned about, I don't want to lose this percent. It's like, if you're getting, especially if it's a length of stay and you're not offering stay over service, you know, how much more valuable is that guest stay? Because you're not paying the housekeeper. If you're renting a room to one guest for 2 nights versus two guests for 2 nights,
You're having to pay the cleaner twice.
Infinitely different profitability, right?
Right.
So if you're doing a length of stay promotion, which I would recommend, it always is at minimum of 2 nights, then you can afford to have some flexibility in that. And if
Definitely.
you don't have a good OTA strategy, it's going to allow you to keep more. So make sure that you're doing that. But I think you just can't get lost in the fear of like, oh, we're giving something up. So you got to spend money to make money. And I was even telling, I think it was Sweetwater this week, because they were worried about their OTAs for their games. Right. They're like, oh, we don't want to give up that commission. And so I did the math and I said, we're spending money to get every guest anyways. So don't think of it as a commission, and instead think of it as a marketing expense. And if you change their mindset to think of like, oh, I'm paying X to get this reservation. Like, let's say, for example, the rooms are $700 a night. So let's say you're at an 18% commission. That's $126, okay, is what you'd pay in commission for that booking. But that's a 5.5 times return.
Yeah.
So if you spent 126 and you got a 5.5 times return, that's $700. That's what we're trying to get them in marketing anyways.
Interesting. I like it. So just shifting your perspective on
You know what I mean? Like if we get a 5 times return on ads, we feel like we're being successful. It's the same thing.
Oh, I
It
love
just
that.
feels like you're giving away money, but you're already giving it up anyways.
Right.
Because you've got to spend money to get those clients to your site. So think about it as a marketing expense and not a commission. And it completely changes like your emotional connection
I
to
like
that booking.
Right.
Right. And then do a great job with that guest and tell them that you'll give them 15% off if they book direct as a return guest.
Yeah, we
And
love the
then
return guest discounts. Why not?
Remove them from an OTA guest to your guest.
Right.
Right. Win them over.
Yeah, I love it.
And then next up is make sure your pricing is in line. It's amazing how easy it is to forget, like, do you have your 2025 pricing out?
Yeah.
You know, because we're almost
Like
at the
a
end of the
year,
year. Yeah.
right?
Do you have it? Ideally, if you're listening to this, you should have 365 days of rates. That's what I believe. That's what I would do.
But we're not updating our rates every day, so it's 365.
No, we
days
do
out.
ours, but I
Like
would
once
if you
a month?
could. And depending on what system you have, like Take Up allows that.
Oh, it just
I'm
automatically.
almost positive Take Up is putting out your rates 365. I think.
Well, unless it's set up in WebRes, they're not able to.
Yeah, but none of our Take Up properties use WebRes.
Oh, I see. Right.
But Becca will usually put out the new rates every quarter. So depending on where you are in the quarter, you're about 365 days out. But you would be shocked how many people forget, like, oh my gosh, I hadn't even published my 2025 rates yet. So get in there, look at your 2025 rates, because now's the time,
Yeah.
right? Because people are going to be booking their spring breaks and maybe their
Totally.
summer vacations. They're looking. So you don't want someone to go to your site and check like, oh, let's go spend 4th of July wherever, and go to your site and it says no availability.
Right.
Not because you're sold out, but because you haven't posted your rates yet.
Yeah.
So make sure your rates are up. Go through and make sure you look at your events and your seasonality and any special weekends you have. And don't just put out your stagnant rate for the whole year.
Right.
Make sure you're giving yourself those good rates at the good times. And then, of course, it's the 4th quarter. So what do we have? What happens in the 4th quarter?
I don't know.
Sure you do.
Holidays?
See, look at you.
Okay.
What do we have?
Well, we have Halloween.
Not a big one.
Okay.
Not a big one.
Thanksgiving
Yep.
and Christmas
And New Year's.
Yeah.
So make sure your rates are right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially if you're operating in the space where we are, where we've got.
Thanksgiving usually is a really big week. I
Yeah.
find that Christmas and New Year's,
It depends.
yeah.
It depends where you're at, because if
And it
you're
also depends on the weather.
and like if you're a Sweetwater in Gainesville, where people are going to go travel to stay with their family,
Mm-hmm.
you want your mother-in-law to stay at Sweetwater.
Yeah.
You know, maybe pay for it for her.
Oh, that's so kind.
You know, don't have her stay at your house.
Yeah.
But so have those rates, and New Year's is usually a big one because people will get the rooms overnight for New Year's. So you really want to make sure your Thanksgiving week from probably that Wednesday to that Sunday are at an accelerated rate. And then Christmas, I think this year, I think it might be on like a Wednesday. So you could almost do the weekend before, depending, because
Yeah.
people sometimes will have like 2 weeks off for that period of time. And you really want to run better rates all the way through New Year's.
Yeah. And we usually black out our promotions.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, we do allow the 4 nights get 25% off because
Because
the
it's
length of
always
stay is
worth it.
great. Yeah.
Yep.
But like the shorter promotions, like if we do a winter promotion, which sometimes we do, you know, sometimes our strategies change because
Yeah.
last year I feel like it was
Yeah, I
just
don't-
better to lower the rates and not have that promotion, where
think that's what we'll
years
do this year.
before we've upped our rates and then had like a 40% off, but it was stay 2 nights to get that.
Well, and then the problem was we weren't competitive on OTAs at all because we were so
You're
highly
right.
priced.
Exactly.
So yeah, it worked. It worked when the demand was higher, but as we've seen,
Once like life has come back almost kind of normal.
Post-COVID.
Yeah. Right.
it's a post-COVID shift.
It is.
It's a classic.
It's interesting because you can't really base our last couple years. Can't really compare them.
No, you
because
can't. You know what they
every
call
year's
that?
been so different. No.
PCS.
PCS?
Mm-hmm. Post-COVID switch.
Oh. Did you just make that up?
Yeah, I did.
I love it.
I was like running it through my head to make sure I could do it right. But yeah, it's different. You're right. You can't even compare. In fact, funny enough, the big Sweetwater conversation, but we were saying like you really can't look at 2021 or 2022 because those are anomaly years.
They were.
Especially like for our properties here where we were open and we were in the outdoors, like people were flocking to that
It's
experience.
crazy.
It's really
Everywhere was shut down except for Southern Utah.
it's like an anomaly, so
Yeah.
you've got to look at your numbers differently
Yeah.
that way. But anything else you can think of that's important as people prepare for the fourth quarter?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I hope that was valuable. Some really good conversation. Got into some great rate strategy and OTA talk there. It wasn't even really on my radar, but I think it's so critically important. Also, one thing that I do want to say before, oh, shoot.
What?
Bonus tip, you can run a gift card promotion. So if you're needing some cash at the end of the year, you can run like an email promotion, come to the dwellings where every stay is a gift,
I love it.
where you can get that revenue from guests this year. So if you're in a place where you need some revenue to help get you through the off season, run a gift card promotion, you receive that revenue today, and then they'll usually most likely use that gift card to stay in a busier time of year, but gives you an opportunity to get some cash before the year is over and help get yourself through the winter. So I think most of our email campaigns that are properties in December will be gift card promotions.
Cool.
Yeah,
We've never done that before.
Yeah, super
cool.
We did it last year at Wildflower and I think it's Salt.
Oh, okay.
And they both did really good.
Oh,
so
cool.
yeah, excited
like
to do
it.
that. Okay, well, thank you so much. Please like and subscribe. It makes such a huge difference. If you're listening to the audio version of this, if you could download the episode, that helps us out a ton. But thank you so much for listening.